Hi, this is Jarek B. Colaniban. Today's video, I'm going to show you on how to make an application that adds two numbers using Android Studio. So let's start with opening our Android Studio. So after opening the Android Studio, now we have to select New Project, then select Phone and Tablet, then Empty Activity. Then we have now to rename our application. So I will rename this application as Add Two Numbers. This is our package name, the location of this project, and the language we use is Java. Now we have to select our minimum SDK. We can choose any of these. Then we have to select Finish. Now we have to wait for the Gradle build to complete. Once the Gradle build finish, it will look like this. Then there would be two files, main activity and activity main. If you don't have this, you have to make sure that you're in Android, then the app, then the Java folder, then you will find the main activity. For the resource, you have to go to the folder rest, then layout, then you will find the activity main.xml. Now let's create our physical layout of our app. Under activity main.xml, under the code section, you have the constraint layout. You don't really need this because we can use design section in here. We will add added text which will enable us to add two numbers. So here we have the main design. We need to click on this text, Hello World, and remove it. Just click delete. So let's go start creating our first layout. So firstly, we need the edit text which will enable us to enter a number. We have to select on text, then under text we have to select number. This 1. Then we have to place it here or wherever you like. Then we need to constrain to the both side, the top and bottom. To do that, just double click this plus button. Just double click this blue plus sign to constrain them. Now it will look like this. After this, we need to rename its ID of this field. In the right side, you will see this ID section where we need to change it. I will name this ID to num1 and click enter. Then this will pop out, then just select refractor. Alright, so we have created our first widget. Now let's add another number text field and just follow the same procedure as we did earlier. Just drag this, place it here, align with the first one. Then we need to constrain it from top. Just double click on this from top, bottom, and it's both side. Now we have to change the ID of this widget. We have to rename this as num2. Just click on it and enter, then click refractor. Now that we have added two edit text number, we will add a button. Just click on these buttons, then on this one, just drag this, align with the two widget that we have created earlier. Now we will constrain this as well from top, bottom, and it's both side. Now we have to rename its ID. Just click on this button, then find its ID. Then we have to rename this to btn add. Just click on it, then click enter, then click refractor. Then we will add a text view for displaying our answer. Under text, we have to select text view, drag this, and align with the button. Then we have to constrain this from top, bottom, and it's both side as well, as we did earlier. Now we will rename this. Just click on this, and find its ID. We will rename its ID to answer. Press enter and refactor. Before we go to writing the Java code, we need to call this button as add. To do that, click on the button. Under properties on the right side, you should see the text section where we need to rename it to add. Click on it and press enter. You should see here the add text. Then we need to change the text view to answer. Just click on it and find its text. There, we need to change it to answer. As you can see here, we have the answer text, but the answer is still not visible. Let's make this size larger. To do that, we need to go to the code section and find the text view. There, then under text view, we need to add a space for the size. Just type text size, then the Android Studio will show this, then click this. Then we have to put a value on it to 32 SP or ceiling definite pixel. Now we have to go to the design section to see if it is now larger. As you can see, it is larger now. Now we have created our layout and added ID to each one of them. We can now go ahead and write our Java code to add two numbers and show its answer. Click on the main activity.java and create variables to each of these widgets. To create variable, we need to call a private because we do not want this variable to be accessed in other Java file. Then type edit text. Then we have to call this as num1. Now we have to add another edit text for num2. And we have to create for our button as well. We call private again and name it to add. And we have text view for the answer. And let's just call this as result. Now we have created our variables. So we have to assign it to the IDs in the HTML layout. To do that, num1 is our first variable. After num1, space, plus sign, space, open brace. Inside we need to add edit text. And we need to do a find view by ID. Find view by ID is a function by Android Studio which lets you to reference it with the HTML layout. So type find view by ID. Inside of it, we need to type r.id, which is the r is our file, which has all your file IDs in your HTML layout. Then the ID num1 of our layout edit text. After creating num1, now we have to create the second variable, which is the num2. Then we have to assign open brace and close. Then inside of this is the edit text. We have to click this. Then find view by ID again. Inside of these are the r.id.num2 and click this num2. The next one, we need to create our add, which is our add button type. Open brace, inside of this is button. Find view by ID again. Inside of this are r.id.add. And now we have to create for our result, which is the text view to display our answer. Result plus sign, open brace and close. Then inside of this text view, find view by ID again. Then inside of it is r.id.answer. Now we have referenced our variables with the corresponding ID in the HTML layout. We can now go ahead and add our two numbers. When do the two numbers added? only when the add button is clicked, right? So for that, what we need to do is we need to set the on-click listener. So we have to type add that set on-click listener. As you can see, the add is red. It is because it's not the same as what we have referenced earlier. Then inside of these braces, we have to type new space view on click that listener. Just double click this to import view that on click listener. As you can see, it is red. It is because we have to implement method for this view on click listener to work. Just click this, then click that and OK. Then it will generate its code automatically. In here, we need to retrieve the number type which is inside the edit text. So for that, let's create our integer here. After the integer, space number 1. Space equal space num1 dot get text dot to string. We need to string this. Since our number is an integer data type, we need to convert string to integer. To do that, we need to use integer.parseInt function. We need to type in here the integer.parseInt. Then we have to make some adjustment here. Just type the same as I was typing. So we have to do the same for our number 2. Just copy this, then change the number 1 to number 2 edit text, then num1 to num2 edit text. Now we have both our two numbers, so let's create for sum variable and we have to give this value number 1 added to number 2. Now we have added our two numbers, so we have to set this num to our result, which is the text view. Just type result.setText. Inside of this, we need to pass our result, so let's type answer so it will seen properly. Since sum is string, we need to convert that to string. To convert it to string, just type string.value of, then inside of this is the sum. Now we have added our two numbers and display its result, so we have to build this. Just click this to build our project and to install it to an Android emulator. Let's just wait for this build to complete. After building this project, the Android emulator will show up. Now, we have to try this app if it is working well. So we have to try this 2, 5, 6, then we have to add it to 3, number 3. Then the answer will show up to 259, which is correct. Let us now try a second number to add. So we have to add 2, 3, 4, plus we have to add 5, 6, 7. Then the answer will be 801, which is correct. So as you can see, our app is working well.